Hello and welcome again back to the Exceptional Educators Playbook. I'm Vonda Adams. I'm the elementary math consultant here with KVEC, and alongside me today we have Stephanie Kidd, and she is the middle school high math consultant. And today Stephanie's going to be monitoring the chat, so if there's something you need to put in the chat box, and she'll be keeping an eye on that for us as well. The purpose of our podcast is to offer some professional learning in a podcast format. And then, of course, each month we focus on something different with our content. And this month we are looking at instructional strategies. And we have, along with us, some guests today. We have Melissa Hall and Jeremy Hall, and they both are special education teachers at Highland Turner Elementary School in Breathitt County. And they're going to share with us some of the instructional strategies that they're using. And what's unique about our guests today is that they are a married couple, and they also obviously teach in the same school, so they can give us a wide range from K2, right, Melissa?
Yes.
And then 3 through 6, that's what I was thinking, 3 through 6. So we're going to get a nice range of strategies, different levels as well today. So, we'll just go right in here and get started. So obviously during this time with COVID and all the things that we've had to do as far as with it's changed the way school is for our teachers and for our students. So the use of technology has become vital for our kids for their learning. So can you share with us what you're doing to meet your kids' needs?
Well, we Google Meet every day, and I Google Meet and do math stations with kindergarten, first and second, and then I also do a separate Google Meet with just the resource group for the children that are on my caseload.
Okay.
So that's a big part. And then I have a document cam that I use like a lot. So that has been a big help because instead of trying to hold something up and hold my face up, I'll be able to just put it under the document camera and then share my screen with the kids, and they can see it at their best.
All right, great. Jeremy?
We've been using lots of different programs. We've been using Cami. Cami will allow you, if you want to model a fraction, for example, they can go to that document and they can select a color and they can still shade it, using Cami. We've used a lot of Jamboard boards, just various things like that to try to keep the students engaged and, still be able to work on the same types of concepts that we would be working on in the classroom, even though we're not there with our, hands-on manipulatives and things.
Okay, all right, great. So my next question is, I'm really trying to get at those instructional strategies, exactly what you're doing with them. We've talked about how you're using the Google Meet and you're using Cami and those types of things. What are you doing special that you're meeting the needs of our exceptional students?
For the specially designed instruction, what are you doing with the specially designed instruction?
Well, I do a lot of modeling and feedback and repetitive practice, but now all of our kindergarten children, we sent home a bag with math manipulatives. We put Unifix cubes in there, and we put some of them, like I have a student on my caseload that doesn't have all 10 fingers, so I made sure that he got a Rec and Rec so that he would have that to be able to count forward and backward to 10 to look at it instead of using his fingers. They had whiteboards and markers for the semi-concrete so they'd be able to draw some things. So we sent home some resources to our students also.
Okay, and Jeremy?
And my students, I work with them every day in small group setting, kind of just like I would do if we were at school. We have our own breakout room on Google Meet.
Okay.
And do a lot of modeling, with the students. And I know that it's virtual and it's not in person, but we are able to do a lot of the same things in that small group setting. They have their whiteboards, and they can hold them up, and there's just so many different programs and things out now that it's really eased the burden some.
Well, that's great. That's great. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned about your breakout rooms and those types of things. So I'm assuming that both of you also participate with co-teaching as
Yes.
well. So let's talk a little bit about that, how that's working for you all, your co-teaching. How are you making that work?
We, in the primary grades, the teachers move group. The students, we have, like in kindergarten, we have an aide and 2 regular education teachers, and then myself. And so we have 4 links in the stream of the classroom, and the parents hop their kid on to one of those 4 links, and then every 15 minutes the teachers rotate.
Okay.
Let the students, because the babies, it's hard for them to move, to close one and then open another,
Right.
and so we rotate every 15 minutes and do a small group, and we have our students, we have them group based on mainly math data, but a little bit of summative assessments and formative assessments, and of course teacher observation as well, but mainly we use the math data to group our students. That way the small groups can be more tailored to fit the needs of that group of students.
Okay, that's great.
And in 1st and 2nd grade, it's just myself and the regular education teacher. So we have 3 20-minute groups, and I have a group, and then the other teacher has a group, and then the independent group would be like a program. We use Dreambox, but you can use any kind of math program that kind of goes with their level, that's on their level.
Okay.
And so I do a lot of the similar things, but also I do go into regular core instruction times. And during that time, sometimes I'll present, sometimes the regular teacher will present. There's also lots of opportunities when maybe their students are doing their independent work or their independent practice. I'll pull a few kids that may be struggling out to a breakout room, and we'll try to show some more models. We'll try to have more models, diagrams, something like that, and think about it more, semi-concretely to get to that abstract level.
I think it's great. I'm sitting here listening to them talk, Stephanie, and it's like, this is something this is just good teaching, and it's going on. Normally it would be face-to-face. You guys have just managed to learn how to do it virtually.
And all of our students at Highland Turner, they're getting an opportunity for whole group instruction and small group every day. So that's it's making the most of this trying situation.
Sure, yeah. Obviously, we'd rather have them, right? We'd rather have them in the classroom, but sounds like you all have made the best of a bad, a difficult situation, for sure. Yeah.
So what kind of routines have you guys set up, like for your kids, for the explicit instruction? What kind of routines have you set up for your kids? Like when they log on, is there a specific thing that they're doing, bell work, or what's the routine that you have for them?
Well, our students have a schedule for virtual just as if we were in school regular. So, they have a daily schedule that we follow, just like the regular schedule.
Just like getting into a classroom.
The only thing that's different is maybe the lunch, the lunch time and the PE time. They might do something on their own at that time, but pretty much everything's that same schedule when we're in person or virtual.
Okay.
Ours is the same way. We start at 7:30 and we end at 3:30 every day. And our kids, they're not necessarily staring at the computer screen that entire time. We make sure that they get breaks in between, but they have a schedule that we just follow every day. It's the same routine for the kids and the parents. I think it's, especially in these times with this younger children, the routine is important for the parents as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
I start my day every morning with 4th grade, a little math intervention group, and I end my day at 3:30 with 5th grade math intervention group. So the kids have that schedule just as if they were at school. So we try to follow it. Like she was saying, they don't start at the computer all day, but maybe during the math lesson, after the core instruction, if, looking at the formatives, if you seem to have a handle on it, you may be able to just log off and work independently. But, if Melissa needs a little extra help, she could stay on and get extra attention with the teacher or co-teacher.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah.
So Jeremy, how are you getting that explicit instruction in for things like graphic organizers and those kind of things?
I'm trying to do a lot of that during those, during my guided reading groups, during my math groups with my students. When we're in those little small groups together, I can present my screen. I've got a document camera. I've got a whiteboard that I, work with. I also have been using Jamboard quite a bit, and the kids can go right on those organizers too. Like we're doing a Venn diagram, they can go pick a sticky note up and, put it on where it needs to go, and which leads to some good discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Speaking of, math, we use the Eureka Math program, which has a lot of models. When students are subtracting, they're bundling and unbundling. We use a program, the kids work on Zern, independently, but they can work on it with us too. I like that it shows the models, and we can go over those same models in small group, with students. They can pull those up and, they can draw it out on their boards. And when you have a small group like that, even though if I was looking right at their paper, it would be better. At least, they have their cameras on and they hold it up so you can see what they're doing.
Right. So, I like Eureka Math myself as well, because to me, it's as close as we can get to always focusing on that CSA model, that concrete, moving to the semi-concrete to that abstract. And like you were talking about, those models, they've got those tools, they encourage you to put them in their hands. And then, of course, the drawing with that semi-concrete piece and then moving into that abstract. So, yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
I think one of the things when we switched over to Eureka a few years ago, some of the students had trouble with the models because they were just wanting to look at it abstractly, and it was hard for them to go back and visualize, why does this make sense and why does this work?
Yes, yeah. We talk about that quite a bit when we do our training.
Yeah.
It's those Highflyers, the students who really just don't care about, they don't want to explain or show their thinking, they just want to go ahead and do it. But that surely shows a true understanding if our kids can model it and draw it and explain what they've done. Yeah.
But today I was working with some students in 4th grade, and we were doing division, and it really helped them to put the discs, and they were on their own disc, on their whiteboard in the hundreds and thousands. Then they could make the groups and they could unbundle and bundle as they needed. That semi-concrete really seemed to help them.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly in that. I say all kids need to be taught that way. All new concepts need to be taught. Start with the concrete and move your way through semi-concrete to the abstract. Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that.
That semi-concrete seems to put it right in their brain too. They've got that image now that they can connect to, so that helps a lot too. Melissa, how is that working out with kindergarten?
Well, I was just going to say, it's kind of hard to get the virtual concrete. It's a really good thing that we gave them the manipulatives when we did, because then, they can build 8, and then they can draw 8, and then they can see the number 8. And, they have it with the cubes, but it's hard virtually to really get their hands on a lot of the concrete.
Yeah.
We had been working with elapsed time in 3rd grade. And, if we were at school, the kids would have the little clocks. They could actually move the dials around. And they don't have those at home now. And we're able to use a lot of the semi-concrete models and, number lines. But that's one thing if we were in school, that would help them to be able to visualize that.
Yeah, there's just so much. There's so many things that we just can't quite do like we could before in the past. I agree, yes. Which that leads me right into what I wanted to talk about next is when we talked earlier planning for this, we talked about the pros. Are there some pros for teaching these kids virtually? Can you think of some things that have some good things that have come out of this?
Well, I know that when we talked about it, I said, I know it sounds crazy, but that mute button is wrong. Because when I'm counting, you know, and I'm counting and the kids are counting, if someone else jumps in to do something, I can just hit that mute button and we can just smoothly still count.
Yes.
So I know it sounds crazy, but that mute button is a pro. I get so much more skip counting and counting done virtually than I do in person, because I always have to stop and start over and go back and stop and get somebody up out of the floor or make somebody pay attention. So it's good.
Okay.
That's good. And the camaraderie with the parents is a lot different this year. It is, I think, you know, before when you say that the concept is just a little bit out of, they're struggling with this concept, they don't really kind of quite like the parents don't really kind of see where that might be. But now, since they're every day listening to us teach their children, then they're telling us now, well, it doesn't seem like Jimmy can count backwards as well as he should be able to. So
Yeah.
that's a definite pro.
Yeah, I can see that where it's just a matter of awareness now.
Yeah.
I would
Oh, yeah.
say that
Yeah.
parents now are aware of, so much more so, what their kids are doing. And like you said, their strengths and their weaknesses. They can actually probably pick those out for you as well as you can now, because they're the ones that are actually in there and doing it. I know we have difficulty getting some kids to participate in those types of things, but the ones that are actually in there doing it, I can see where that would be a plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Jeremy? Is there anything?
Yeah, I agree with the collaboration with the parents. I feel like in a lot of our lessons that the parents are there, you know, listening and trying to make sure they can help their student when, you know, they have to work independently. So I definitely feel like that part is just a big plus, because they know what we're working on, they hear how we're teaching it, they see the models that we're using. But I also feel like, you know, with the older students especially, there's been, you know, we do a lot of group activities and think parish hours at school, but we're able to do a lot of those, you know, with breakout rooms, and you can send 2 or 3 kids, and I think some of them have really taken the leadership role, you know, in those
That's
groups.
Great. Yeah, that's great. I guess because when they're in that room, I guess they feel secure. There's some security there that they probably wouldn't feel. I know we try to do it in the classroom, but, you know, eyes are darting and they're hearing and you can hear. But when they're in that room, it's really just the 3 of them. I can see where that would be a huge plus. Yeah.
And the teacher and co-teacher will go in, you know, for a minute here and there. The majority of it is their conversations they're having on their own. And I do feel like that we've had some excellent leaders that's been being built during this time.
Perfect. Great. Anything else on that line, along that line?
I mean, you know, we're just making the most of it. It's definitely this is my 15th year, and I feel all of a sudden like I'm just like a brand new teacher. I don't know what I'm doing every day. I'm like,
Well, I feel like that my eyes have just been opened to so many more tools that I didn't know about, just out of necessity.
Yes.
I've never been on a Google Meet before last March, and now it's, you know, 10 a day or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, Power Deck, Flipgrid, Cami, you know, you just go on and on with all the things that you use, just the little tools that you use every day, just to try to make it as normal as possible.
Right. Yeah, I have to agree that even here, wow, have we learned so much, and we've just, everything's different for us too. Yeah.
On Thursday last week, 5th grade teacher and Miss McElroy, our principal, she shared with, she found this flip, it's Whiteboard FI, and you can push out a whiteboard to each kid, and instead of like on Jamboard where they can see each other's, the teacher can see all the little whiteboards there as they're working the problem out, but the kids can't see each other's.
Oh, wow.
But like if you get one that's really good and you want to use it as an exemplar, you can push it out to everybody for them to look at.
Yeah.
So what was the name of that again?
Wow, yeah.
Whiteboard.fi.
Whiteboard.fi.
Yeah,
Wow.
You don't have to have a subscription for that either. You can just, it's simple to log in.
That's part, talk about a plus. I mean, think about it, if you're working and if you're just one or even if there's two of you, it's going to be hard to get to everybody and see what everybody's doing. But if you can sit there and monitor what everybody's doing all at the same time, wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is a huge plus.
Yeah, I came in today, when I popped into 5th grade whole group instruction today, they were working on, it was estimation with division, where it's 231 divided by 74, and you have to use the compatible numbers, which it seems like kids always struggle with, especially if they don't know those multiplication and division facts. And, it's pushed out to all of them. She was looking on the screen, and just right away you could see, well, Melissa's got it, but this one and this one need a little bit more work, so could you pull in?
Yeah, we will definitely have to push that out and share that with people. Great, thank you for sharing that.
And I hope that was the correct web address. I'll message you after.
Sure, yeah, let us know. If it's not, we'll make a correction on it and get it to everyone. Yeah, that's awesome. Any other resources or sites or things that you stumbled upon because of this that you want to share at this point?
Well, I found a worksheets one, and I know it's like worksheets, but I feel like, especially with the primary children, they need that independent practice where they can, see it in a different format than just my handwriting, or, and they don't get paper and pencil anymore, but, they have iPads, and so it's different worksheets, and you can draw lines to match the number to the amount of objects, or, and you can make different workbooks and assign them to your students based on what they need. And you can just say, okay, go in and work on, worksheet number 2 in this make a 10 workbook.
Okay. And what was the address on?
Liveworksheets.com. And until December, you get like the premium access for free.
Okay.
And after that, you can still get like 500 workbooks or something for free.
Okay.
And I just wouldn't know that you would even need 500 workbooks.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. And like you said, worksheets, no, but there's a time and place that's that abstract piece, right? We move them.
They have to practice somehow.
That's right. That's right. We have to move them to that point. Yeah. Sure.
And some of those have the semi-concrete in it too, where it's got a model and they're matching the model with the.
Perfect.
So it's not just a worksheet.
Perfect. Yeah, that nice bridge, and that's what we want. We don't want to move and leave something. We want to bring everything along and bridge it all together. Yeah.
I think Flipgrid has been a nice, that's been another one of those nice tools that we found where the kids make the videos. My son's in 5th grade, and they're studying the Revolutionary War, and he made 2 last week, and then they all watched, they all presented and shared them. And that seems to be something they like doing.
That's great. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, we all know that it's been a struggle, and wow, what a whirlwind we've been through trying to adjust. But I do see good things coming out of it. I do, and we've talked about all the time how that we think once we do get back to having our kids in the classroom, I think our teaching is going to look different. I think we're going.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you all think? I mean, you all are in those trenches now. I'm no longer in the trenches, but you're there. When you go back to normal, when everything's are as normal as we can get, when we get our kids back, will your teaching go back to the way it was before?
I mean, well, no way. Because if you would have told me that every kindergarten student needs an iPad in order to, get the curriculum and do the activities or whatever that you have planned, for my lesson plans to work, that child needs an iPad, I would have been like, no way. Now definitely, yes, it will be a lot different.
Okay.
A lot of these tools and resources and instructional strategies that we picked up during this time, that have worked. I mean, why would you throw it away when you go back?
There you go. Yes, there you
A
go.
lot of things that we can do with collaboration, especially the kids can work on, even if they're at their seats independently, they can collaborate together, while the teachers with a small group. So there's just a lot of things that there's been a lot of positives out of an otherwise very trying time.
Yes. Okay, great.
And I think you can also it will be easier to break those boundaries. Like if you have a student, like on Jeremy's caseload that maybe needs just some help on something that I'm teaching like to my second grade group, then it would be easier for them to pop in to a virtual meet, than it would be like for them to walk down the hall to the second grade classroom or something.
Absolutely, yeah, I can see that. I can see how that we will merge the two.
Yeah.
That's what I think and like you said, we're gonna take the good of both,
Mhm.
just like you're doing the virtual teaching, but you brought along all those great strategies that you already were doing, all those routines that Stephanie was talking about earlier. You kept that in place for the kids. You didn't get rid of what was working for you. You just you adapted it to the situation we're in right now.
And if we're having a small reading group, and let's say Melissa's absent, she's sick, and her parents are willing, well, we'll put her on Google Meet, and she can be there with us from home. So that part of it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
If our parents now know how to use that, and if they're having trouble with something in the evening after school or during a teacher's planning time, they can just get on there and work directly with the teacher.
Yes.
Instead of coming into the school like it used to be.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, it's great.
It's really opened the communication between home and school. It's really opened that. I always felt like we had good communication anyway, but that's definitely even better.
Yeah. Wow, that's just great. That's great. Is there anything else that you all would like to share with us before we wrap things up? It doesn't seem like it's been 30 minutes, but it's been 30 minutes. You've all done an awesome job at sharing with us what you've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us come on.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We obviously would like for you to join us again next in December. We will be talking about explicit instruction, and we'll have some more guest teachers to join us as well again. And we will, of course, be talking about, I think we're going to link our math and our literacy together in December and talk about that explicit instruction and what that looks like. But thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Please join us again in December, and we'll holler at you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.